Hey there, Flunkie Force, it's Game Flunky, and today's Friday's awesome freaking news day, or freaking awesome news day. Yeah. Usually I put this on Friday, but it was my first day off, and I'll try to get the week off for me. But today's Saturday, and we're going to get into it. So, get ready, sit back, and enjoy the upcoming news. We'll be talking about Biohazard, talking about Nintendo Switch, talking about some other cool, interesting things that might be coming out in our gaming world. So stay tuned, have fun, kick back, open up a brewski if you're over 21. If not, do not be drinking. Ever. And do not say I told you to drink. So I already know you guys get tired of probably hearing this, but we're going to talk about one more thing with the Switch. Now, when I first did my kind of react to it, and I explained a little bit about it, I mentioned to you guys there's going to be a limited release. There's not going to be very many in stock because, one, it's very popular, and two, it's in March. So I guess that plays a factor. I don't know. But the thing I wanted to let you guys know, retailers are now coming out saying that pre-orders are pretty much drying up, so you better hurry up and get your pre-orders now. But Walmart will be opening up pre-orders soon, so if you haven't got it yet, and Best Buy and Amazon, other retailers are sold out, it's best to check in with Walmart. I forget the date they put, and I'll put a link in the description below. But I thought you guys should know a little bit about that. If you want to know about the news article that reported this, check out Forbes. Again, I'll put a link in the description below. Other than that, that's pretty much it. Just remember, guys, pre-order ahead of time. This is a very popular console at a really good price. So people are going to be buying it up like hotcakes because it's a big kid around, which is weird, too, because if you think about it, it's kind of late to the party. But, hey, Nintendo sets its own trend. All right. Later this month, we'll see the release of Resident Evil Biohazard, the next installment in the long-running Resident Evil series. One of the things to keep in mind, though, this game is going back to roots. Stated that Capcom has had a discussion that they wanted to decide where to go with the next installment of the franchise. They realized with the previous installment that they kind of expanded the scope and the reach of the game too much, and it took away from the key core aspects of what made Resident Evil originally Resident Evil, the horror and the sheer heart-pounding experience. One of the key features that they have added that they've made a completely first-person view. Now, what also they have stated that they also made it accessible for VR experience. So if you have a PlayStation 4, you'll be able to use it and play VR on this as well. Now, I asked, was this their original intention? No, that was not. A year before production even began, they decided that they were going to make it first person already. They didn't decide VR till later on. The reason why they have done this, though, is like I said before in the previous statement, that they want to go back to roots and try to create that realistic, horrific feeling. The main protagonist is Ethan Winters. He is looking for his lost wife, Mia, which through his, I guess you could say, exploration, winds him up on a derelict plantation farm owned by the Baker family, which if you've seen the trailers, they don't look too friendly. I mean, they get kind of hungry, and then they seem like they're going to eat the shit out of you, but, Which is kind of interesting, though, because they weren't expecting the game to be so popular, but with the kitchen demo, they realized that this game could be where they need to go. So they have decided, without further ado, that they were going to start producing this game. One of the things to keep in mind, though, is people now are starting to throw rumors around that this could be the last installment of the Resident Evil franchise. Now, I do not want to say my own opinion on this, because for the sake of trying to be bipartisan, I do not know. It would be interesting, though, to see if they do or they don't. Depending on how this game is released and how it is held up, it might determine what Capcom decides to do next. But bear in mind, they are trying to go back to what originally started Resident Evil. Now, another thing to keep in mind, too, is Resident Evil usually has numbers in front of the name. This is the first time Resident Evil will have in the name Resident Evil and Biohazard, which I thought was kind of weird, but I don't know. But it also gives to what kind of the game is going to be about. One of the key features you might want to keep in mind, though, there are weapons, there are herbs, there are puzzle solving, like any other Resident Evil, but scaled down to a very minimal access. Again, they want to give you that kind of desperate, horrific feeling. I guess the best way to look at it is Evil Within, from what I'm taking, kind of like that. Without all the crazy gunfest. Yes, you'll be fighting mutant monsters and crazy zombies. But the one thing I like to take from this, and the one thing I thought was kind of cheesy, is like the old Resident Evil was about zombies and trying to run and hide and protect yourself. Yeah, you had guns, and you had some really crazy mutated zombies that, had some really wicked powers, like Nemesis. Do y'all remember that crazy motherfucker? The point I wanted to make, though, as far as my one thing I want to add, is from what it sounds like, it's something I want to buy into. Now, I haven't bought into a Resident Evil series since 5 with Chris Redfield and Sheba, for exactly the reasons why they wanted to scale down the game in the first place, which I think a lot of the other hardcore fans thought the same way too. Because you don't buy Resident Evil for the action, you buy it for the horror and the aspect of being desperate and lost and trying to figure out a way to survive. So if Capcom taps into that, I feel like this could be a really big sell for them and be great for the company and the franchise altogether. Like before I said, I do not know what they're going to do with the next installments after this, but if they keep this up, this could be a very lucrative business deal for Resident Evil and Capcom alike. Alright, so the final installment of the day will be talking about Exalted March, the canned expansion that was supposed to be released for Dragon Age 2. This is the article brought to you by a fellow gamer who went around and found it for me. You can find the article on Eurogamer.net, if I think I got it right. I'll leave a link in the description below. One thing to keep in mind, though, if you do find articles you'd like me to check out and they're from a reliable source, then I'll gladly check it out and I'll shout you out and stuff like that. Just to give better information and, maybe something cool I totally missed. Without further ado, let's get into it. During Dragon Age 2's somewhat rocky reign, there was an expansion called Exalted March, which an idea was pretty much that it would follow the Red Lyrium Chancellery, with the Chantry becoming very upset, I'm quoting at this point, while various aspects of Qunari started to make moves on the turbulent free marches of which the game's Kirkwall is a city-state. Thus, it fell to Hawk U to stop things from going to hell again while working with Starkhaven and the Pirates of Armada. The story was started at the Hangman Tavern in Lowtown. It takes place on the nearby island of Eastwatch and had, in Ladwell's opinion, some really interesting stories to tell. But the reason why they shut down was a lot of people thought it was because of such disdain that Dragon Age 2 had. A lot of fans were not happy with where the franchise was going with Dragon Age 2. Well, that was not the case at all. Dragon Age Inquisition was running off the Frostbite engine, and the company decided that the best thing to do was to completely focus their resources on that. It had nothing really to do with the personal opinions of the gamers or players or what the producers felt. They just thought it was really a smart move just to focus on Dragon Age Inquisition, because the aspect of the game was completely changed based off the fact that it was run off the Frostbite engine, a very powerful engine and a very big step in a new direction. But the thing to keep in mind too is, and this is another thing, it didn't really even make it past concept. It was just a name given to the idea of making something. They had an idea of what they wanted to do, but they didn't go through with it, like previously stated. But here's another thing to keep in mind, though, is that because the transition with Frostbite engine, both the Exalted March and Dragon Age Inquisition would suffer greatly because from lack of engineering. So executive producer Mark, and I'm paraphrasing this, Mark Dara made the call to stop development on Exalted March and go all the way in, which would later become Dragon Age Inquisition. So there you go. Which I'm a big fan of this franchise. I completely understand why they did what they did. I get it. You can't have your cake and eat it too, kind of deal. So, well, that's it for Freaking Awesome News Friday. Freaking awesome. I don't know how I wrote this down on the playlist, but anyway, hope you enjoy it. Please stay tuned to next time. We'll be next Friday or Saturday. Then we'll have this again. This is Game Flunky signing off.